Hi guys, Darth Deuce is back with our Star Wars The Black Series action figure review. Today taking a look at another new release with the character that appeared in Ahsoka. It is Huyang, who, if you're familiar with the Clone Wars, also appeared in the Clone Wars. That's where he made his debut. And while this figure is supposed to be based off of his Ahsoka appearance, at least color-wise, it does a lot more resemble his Clone Wars appearance. Because I assume this figure was based off of concept art. They probably had him looking closer to his Clone Wars appearance, and then they made some changes before they can make changes to the figure, which is fine. But yeah, this is a cool release. It's always cool to get new droids, and this one's definitely a unique one, so it was one I definitely wanted to add to the collection. So taking a closer look, I think the sculpt is really good on this figure, and he's got quite a bit of paint for a standard release as well. There's quite a bit of painted detail. He's got his eyes painted in gold there. You've got some bronze coloring with white for the little monocle lens thingy he has that flips down, and you've got this navy blue on the go. And I think the head sculpt, just the design of Hu Yang, I think looks really not cool. Was always a fan of how he looked. The torso here is nicely sculpted. He's got some really subtle little dings here and there, which I think makes him look a bit worn. I think that's cool. It's got the little compartment where you can hold crystals from the Clone Wars there, and got the exposed wiring in the midsection. You can see some of them are painted. That looks pretty good. In the arms, you've got the joints there, have some gunmetal-y sort of coloring, and you've got a different shade of coloring here. The main inaccuracy, which I'll mention now, is that in the show, Huyang looks a lot more silver with most of his plating, whereas the figure has this more bone color that is slash light brownish color that he had more in the Clone Wars. So yeah, whether that is a deal breaker for you or not, it's kind of up for you to decide. It doesn't really bother me, but it might bother some. I don't know. But the arms look good. He's got the hands very droid-like. And you've got the waist apron thing he wears with his tools and his pouches and all that, which looks pretty nice, although it is lacking some paint. There's a bunch of little doodads and whatnot and pouches and buckles on his belt that just aren't painted, that I think would look a lot better with just a little more silver paint and whatnot. But the legs look really good. He's got a lot of this gunmetal coloring that looks really nice. And you've got like these pistons, exposed pistons there at the bottom of the legs. The joints for the droid look good. And then the feet. Pretty good looking figure. I cannot complain too much. You know, there are some missing paint apps here and there, but for the most part, he's got quite a bit of paint for a standard release. And he is a whole new sculpt. They have not used any of his parts before, to my knowledge. In terms of articulation, he's decently articulated. You do have a dumbbell joint at the base of the head as well as base of the neck. He looks up a fair amount, looks down a bit. He can pivot quite a bit, so you can get him fairly expressive. Shoulder joints, they go just shy of 90. Rotation. There is no butterfly joint. He doesn't really need it. Single hinge that goes a full 90, and then swivels at the wrist and up and in and out hinges, which is fine. His backpack here, this is a separate accessory. It does remove. It comes not on the figure, but I just kept it on him because it's just part of him basically. But these have articulation. You can rotate them out at 3 different points for his little arms. They can't hold anything, but it's still a nice little gimmick, nice little feature for him to have the arms where he's grabbing stuff off shelves and all that. So I think that's pretty cool. And they fold in nice and cleanly. Waist joint, he crunches forward just a bit, goes back a bit, pivots a bit, and then a rotation. Hip joints, they go forward pretty much all the way. The plastic waist apron thing will pretty much get out of the way for you. It doesn't split too far. I don't know what it is, but something is stopping it. And then it does have the new hip joint, so it just rotates at that hip there. Then single hinges at the knees. I believe, yeah, he's got a swivel just below the knee joints, and then he's got hinges at the ankle that go up a bit, that go down a bit, and ankle rocker for pivot. So he's got serviceable articulation. I wouldn't say the articulation is crazy good, but It's not a figure I need to be too terribly dynamic anyways. I know he did a little bit of fighting, but mostly just stood around, so that's fine with me. In terms of accessories, you have already seen the backpack with the articulated arms. It is pretty cool. He does also come with his little data pad thingy that has some nice paint apps on it. And he holds that perfectly fine in either hand. He also comes with one of the training sabers that he was using to spar with Sabine with, which I think is nice. It has some nice painted detail on it. And he holds it fine. I do wish it would have had an attachable like blade, because it had like this like holographic blade that it came out to show where she was slashing at. Would have been nice if it had that, because you kind of can't really do, you can kind of just hold it. There's not really much else you can do with this, but still cool they included it. And that's pretty much it. And there's not much else really, anything to compare him with, because there's not no other droid like him. But here he is with Ahsoka. And I think they look pretty good together. I would compare him with Sabine as well, but I forgot to bring her out for this. But he looks good with these characters. But he also fits in well with Clone Wars characters. So here he is with the Clone Wars Ahsoka that was just recently released as well. And I think she goes really well with her too. So overall, I think Huyang is a pretty good release. He's got all new sculpting, quite a bit of paint apps, decent articulation, and decent array of accessories. If you are a fan of the Ahsoka show and you don't mind the inaccurate color, or if you're a Clone Wars fan, because he's actually more accurate looking to the Clone Wars, then I definitely think this is a figure I would recommend, especially if you like droids, because he's a fairly unique one. Anyways, there's not too much else I have to say with this figure, I guess. So that's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one. May the Force be with you.